My name is Zion Creech, and I did my project on the southern flying squirrel, aka Glaucomys volans. So the classification is Kingdom Animalia, Phylum Chordata, Class Mammalia, Order Rodentia, Family Sciuridae, Genus Glaucomys, Species Volans, and you can see here that they're actually different from marsupials, which include the sugar gliders, often confused with flying squirrels. So just a quick description of their physical features and how to identify them. The southern flying squirrel is a grayish brown color above, and they have a white underside ending at the base of the tail. They're around 7 to 10 inches in length. They have large, dark, saucer like eyes. They have a long, flat tail, and they have this strange, furry connective membrane between their front and rear legs. This is called a patagium, and it has this black line on the outside of it, which is hard to see in the top picture, but in the bottom two pictures is much easier. The range and habitat, they're found throughout the eastern United States. You can see here in this picture, the orange range is that of the southern flying squirrel, and the gray is that of the northern flying squirrel. And the southern ranges from in the United States from Maine to Texas and all through the area between there. It can also be found in southern Canada, northern Mexico, and there are even some small populations in Central America. They prefer mixed and deciduous forests with hardwoods that are seed producing, such as maples, beech, hickories, oaks, and poplars. They will nest in woodpecker holes and the natural cavities which occur in those trees. And when those are all full, they will sometimes be found nests made of bark, sticks, leaves, things of that sort. And if it gets very cold, multiple squirrels may nest together in the same nest to preserve heat. So, a little bit about the reproduction and development of these animals. They have two breeding periods a year, one at the end of winter, very early spring, and another at the very end of summer. Their gestation period is around 41 days, sometimes a little shorter. There's about 2 to 7 litter young per litter, and they'll be fully grown within 1 year. The eyes don't open for the first month, so the young are very dependent on the mother, and they'll be weaned after around 2 months, and they'll be gliding within 5 to 6 weeks. These animals have been known to live in captivity for 10 years, but in the wild it's only 5 to 6, and most of them are dead within their first year. So about flying squirrels, they don't actually fly, they glide. So they stretch out their limbs in an X shape and they tighten out the patagium and they get a long running start, or they can just tense up and extend from a leap, a standstill leap, and this will allow them to glide. And they can glide up to 150 feet if they're high enough. They use their long flat tail as a sort of steering device while they're in the air, and it also acts as a brake as they approach trees. So they will lift this tail up almost like a parachute to slow them down so that they can latch onto the tree and scurry up their new tree. Their behavior and diet. Nesting mothers are highly territorial, and if they feel threatened, will not be afraid to move their nest to another spot on the same tree or potentially even a different tree. They're the only nocturnal tree squirrels, which is positively correlated with their large eyes, used for seeing in the dark. They make a low chirping sound if they feel threatened. They have smaller groups in the warmer months, tending to be solitary or small family groups. But in the winter, as I said earlier, they can gather in groups of up to 10 or even 20 squirrels in one nest. They're an omnivorous animal. They tend to eat a lot of fruits, nuts, and mushrooms, and then their proteins, they're getting a lot from insects and even the eggs of some birds. And they will store a lot of food for the winter. They can even store up to 150,000 seeds in the winter. They're very clumsy walkers, which is why they prefer to stay in trees if they need to escape from a predator. A lot of their predators are birds of prey. Those are their most effective predators because they can fly. House cats, bobcats, snakes, weasels, and raccoons are also very common predators of these animals. They've been kept as pets for a very long time. They've been known to return to their nests from over a kilometer away. And that's my presentation about this very interesting animal.